Hi everyone, I'm Rose from Mundijong Public Library, but today I'm in my vegetable garden and I'm doing a session for SJ Creators, which is a session that we have every month and we learn something new. And today I'm going to do gardening for beginners. I'm going to talk a little bit about soil preparation, and also we're going to plant some broad beans, some great seeds to plant this time of the year, and also some Savoy cabbages. So welcome to the show. You can see that I've got my homemade garden beds here. Just be aware that this is quite a small bed and it's made of metal. So in the summertime this can get very hot. So just be aware that in the summertime you'll have to do something to shade if you have a very small bed like this with a very hot sun coming down. This time of the year we don't have any problems about that. I just want to talk a little bit about soil preparation for your vegetables. Most vegetables, especially this time of the year, are very heavy feeders. So you need to give them some good stuff to eat while they're growing. So especially things like the brassicas and things like that. So what we've got here is some ordinary garden mix from the nursery. As you can see, it's just sort of pretty unimproved soil. Unfortunately, we don't have worms yet because this is new soil. But it's just so to give those early vegetables a good start. I add a little bit extra to my garden bed, and I add compost. So I add some good compost just as a starter for all those microbes. I add some blood and bone, pretty generous with my blood and bone, just for those heavy feeder brassicas, things like that. I also add some potato manure E. That just has some minerals in it that can help the plants. And I add dolomite lime, which is also great for the minerals for the plants. And also rock minerals, which is great. They're fantastic for getting those microbes started in the soil. So I just sprinkle some of that on, and then I dig it in, and then I water it well, and I leave it for a couple of days before I plant my plants. So today we're going to do broad beans. Now we're ready to plant our broad beans. We've got Coles Prolific, and just remember that at the Mundijong Public Library we have the SJ Seed Swap in collaboration with the SJ Food and Farm Alliance, and we would love for you to donate your seeds of plants that are grown from true to type seeds, non-hybrid. We would love to get the seeds from that, because then we share it to the wider community and we encourage people to grow their own food, which is a great journey for everybody. I'm going to plant these broad beans. Now when you plant them, you don't want to be too close together. Now the reason for that is that the lateral shoots of the broad beans also will produce pods. So if you plant them too close together, they won't encourage them to produce those lateral shoots, which is more food when it comes to the end of the day. Now a rule of thumb for planting seeds, and this is quite a big seed as you can see, is twice its diameter. So when you pop it in, you just got just under the soil like that, and then you make sure that it's pushed right down and it has contact with the soil. You don't have to worry about this time of the year. With at the summertime, you really have to worry about your seeds drying out. So if you get a small seed, say for example these celery seeds, you can see how fine they are. Super fine, and carrots are the same as well. There's must be over 200 seeds on my palm just there. So those little seeds can dry out really quickly. So there's two choices. At this time of the year, they should be okay. You just have to make sure you water every day, because it doesn't rain every day in the winter. To keep that moisture up to that seed, it has to have contact with the soil. Or you can raise it in a little seeds raising box and then transplant them out when they get a bit bigger. For broad beans and peas, and the bigger, and in the summertime the beans, the bigger they are, the better you have chance of germination. So I find big seeds are really good for beginner garden. There's nothing like having the satisfaction of growing your own food from seed and then end up having it on the plate. Yeah. Now we're going to plant our Savoy cabbages, and these are brassicas. They're quite heavy feeders like broccoli. So you've got to make sure that you've fed the bed enough, which I have in this case. If you think they might need more, you can add some organic pelletized chicken manure. That's quite good. Never use raw chicken manure on your beds, they'll burn your plants. But if it's composted or it's organic, the pelletized chicken manure, that's good. But because I've fertilised this bed well, probably won't need any extra for this season. Now sabor cabbages can grow about that big, so you need to make sure that you leave enough space in between your plants for that cabbage to grow. Also, you need to make sure I plant all my plants in little grooves like this, and my seeds as well, because we often don't get our winter rains as much as we should do. So by this, it means that any water that comes in will go and feed and water those plants. If you don't get rain every day, you really need to water your plants every day. You can test the soil, but it's really a good rule of thumb just to see how they're going, because they can dry out if you get, in the winter time, a week of no water. You need to make sure that the soil from the bottom of the little punnet is contacted with the soil in your garden bed. Just push it in and make sure there's no pockets there. There we go. So now I planted my seedlings and my seeds. I'm going to water them in well. It's not going to rain today, so I need to make sure that these little babies have a good water in. And that's, make sure I really give them a good water. Now this time of the year, there's lots of things you can grow. So I planted cabbages with the brassica family. You can plant all the brassica family. You can plant broad beans and peas, beetroot, onions, carrots. Here I've got some carrots here, and I've also in the middle I've got purple carrots coming up, silver beet, snow peas. Over here some potatoes in the bed, and here I've got a very full bed of volunteer potatoes, as well as some cabbages hiding under there, some broccoli, radish and some turnips. So there's lots of things you can plant this year. Over here I've got my snow peas, some more radishes and some broad beans. So it's a fantastic time to garden. Get yourself a little patch. You can grow vegetables quite happily. They will be quite happy in a pot. So just make sure you give some good stuff if they're heavy feeders, and you'll be able to have the satisfaction of eating your own food, growing and eating your own food. So that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.